back to Manifesting Monday. So today I want to talk about the topic of feeling good on purpose and what it means to feel good on purpose, why our feelings and how our emotions are driving us really even matter, and how really paying attention to how we're feeling at any given time is also an indicator to what is going on and what we are pulling in and attracting towards us. Our emotions are literally like data. It's not just a feeling, right? Feelings are not some luxury. They are a part of the manifesting plan. So this week I have been inspired by Smart Girl Manifesting, which if you guys have been on my channel for a while, you know that a few years ago, back in maybe 2018, I did a guidebook, and this little baby is coming back around and coming back in handy, and I'm excited to actually use this as a blueprint and a guide for my own manifesting journey. And so on Mondays, I'll be sharing parts of this with you guys. I didn't write this for no reason. Like, there's a reason that this book came into fruition in the first place. And so I am a firm believer in like taking a dose of your own medicine. And so that's exactly what we're going to be doing here today. One of the things that I learned a long time ago that I feel like is really important to be like a reminder, and especially for today's video, is just that like our feelings and emotions are not just a state. Like, they're a tool, quite literally. They're a GPS navigation, if you will, into what is actually going on in your internal landscape. And when we know that, we can change that, right? Feelings are fleeting. They definitely are temporary, and they are not always the truth, but they are always the indicator to what's going on inside. So I want to read you something from out of the book here today, and then I just want to share with you a couple of ways that I am working this week to cultivate intentional feelings. In Smart Girl Manifesting, there are rules for your manifesting, and rule number 101 says, always be mindful of your feelings, because our feelings aren't extra, they're essential. So emotions and feelings come first, but it's imperative that we understand why they are important when it comes to our manifesting. I was always taught to suck it up, much like the rest of our culture. You don't show weakness, you stop crying, or you be strong, girl. I was even once told by a leader of a church to put how I felt aside and that my feelings didn't matter. What? Pump the brakes, please. I had to respectfully disagree with that. It's truly unfortunate when we are taught to shut down our feelings due to a lack of knowledge about what our feelings actually are. Apart from facilitating vision board parties and workshops, my heart's true love lies in sensual movement and education and sensual dance. As a body worker, I hold sacred space for women to reconnect to their sensuality through sensual movements and mind-body connected modalities like Pilates and yoga. Since studying movement as a holistic healing modality, what I know for certain is that the body has its own wisdom and intelligence, and our emotions and how we feel are great indicators as to what type of physical energy we are outputting. In other words, your vibe or your vibrational frequency. This output of energy is matched and returns to us the displays of things vibrating on the same energy level or vibration. Sounds kind of woo-woo, but you guys, like, this is really true. You get what you give. What you sow, you reap. It's all the same thing. So if you're angry, feeling pissy, you're outputting bad or negative vibrational energy, which is only going to attract bad things. It's the same old classic story about waking up in the morning and you're already pissed off. And then you get out of bed and you stub your toe. And then from there, you end up being late, or you spill coffee on yourself. Like, it ends up becoming this snowball effect of like all kinds of fucked up shit starts happening to you, right? All because like we started out on the wrong foot. These negative vibrational energies will only attract bad, chaotic, or shitty people and circumstances. If you're ever curious about what you're attracting, you want to check your emotions or your energy in motion. In essence, your feelings do matter. They matter a lot. This is why it is imperative to understand how to get into states of emotion that feel good and keep your focus and thoughts on such. Your manifestations are vibrating way up here in like a high frequency realm. So you have to meet them there. We tend to use the words feelings and emotions interchangeably. And while the subject matter is quite complex, essentially our emotions are physical and instinctive. Emotions are what is hardwired. They've been programmed into our genes over many years of our evolution. Our emotions involve a variety of physical and cognitive responses. The general purpose of emotions is to produce a specific response to stimuli. Our emotions can actually be measured objectively by blood flow, facial expressions, and our brain activity. Our feelings, on the other hand, those are what play out in our heads. The feelings are what is fleeting. Our feelings are the mental associations and reactions to our emotions. They are personal and acquired through experience. First comes the emotion, which is universal. What kind of feelings it will then become varies greatly from person to person and from situation to situation. This is because our feelings are shaped by our own individual temperament and personal experiences. This is why it is important to keep ourselves at high vibrational frequencies or feelings. In other words, all that means is stay in states of emotion that feel good. Keep your focus on the good shit. Power emotions like being happy, grateful, inspired, joyful, thankful, fearless, positive. These are not just trendy things to say. You really want to be there in your feeling space. Feeling good is a fundamental part of anything you put on your vision board because how you feel about it is a sign of whether or not you're attracting it into your life. If you desire more money and have poor feelings surrounding money, then you're going to feel lack. Even though money is on your board, the root feeling behind your desire for money will come from the low vibrational frequency of lack. This is why prayers can often seem unanswered. You cannot ask for anything from a place of low vibrating emotions and believe for something high vibrational to happen. Happy and angry do not coexist. Faith and fear do not coexist. As simplistic as it sounds, feeling good must be a priority in your life for successful manifesting. The more often that you feel good, the more happy, radiant, abundant, motivated, joyful, grateful, confident you feel, the more you will attract and be guided and led to experiences and circumstances that create more of those good feelings. So keep those thoughts happy and keep your emotional dial tuned into the station that plays only the good shit. So feeling good really becomes this fundamental necessity for manifesting the things that we want, the things that we put on those lists that we wrote out, right? So last week we gave ourselves permission to want what we want, permission to sit down and dream the dream, permission to think about what it is that I even desire, regardless of where you are at the starting point or where you are in proximity to it. Just the ability to dream it and write it down was what we talked about last week. But I also want to ask too, like, when you're writing down stuff like that, like, how does it really feel, right? Like, sometimes we feel like imposter syndrome when you're writing down these things that you want. And granted, like, we can't go from 0 to 100, you know? I mean, maybe a small percentage of people are actually able to do that. But I think that with manifesting, you know, things come in stages and in waves, and we get from one place to another. But it's difficult to maybe set a goal for something really extreme, right? Like if you have $0 in your bank account and you also don't have a job and you have no source of income, you're probably not going to get $1 million in 5 days. You could win the lottery, but again, getting from that point to this point, it's going to take a little bit of effort, right? It's going to take some work, but you can't get here if you're feeling like you're here all the time. And so I think a good part of that is starting to walk in who you want to be. Like, that is a quote that, I don't know if I made that shit up. Like, I feel like I wrote that down a long time ago, and it's just something that stuck. Walk in who you want to be. It was something that just like dropped into my awareness. And I feel like it's so important. And it's been really a key driver, like, for me in life in general, because it's the same concept as fake it till you make it. When you get up, like, who do you want to be? And what kind of things would the person that you want to be do in the morning, do before bed? What kind of routines would this person have? You know, what type of food would this person put inside of their bodies? What type of exercise regimen would this person be on, right? Like, we can't stay here and expect to get over here. Does that make sense? We can take all the steps in the world also, but if you don't feel good about them, then it's like you're swimming against the grain. So this week, I think that it's important to be aware of your feelings. Maybe you can't quite get yourself into your place of power yet, your pop. Maybe you can't quite feel good all day long, all the time. But having an awareness of how you're feeling at any given time is going to be really good for starting to become aware and in tune and essentially becoming in alignment with the things that it is that we are trying to call into our life. So this week I've decided to ask myself, what are 3 small things that I can do to help myself feel better, like in any given moment? What are 3 things that I can do to feel better more often? What are 3 ways that I can make sure that I am getting myself into a position to feel good? So 3 ways that I'm keeping my thoughts happy this week. So the first thing is morning movement. Morning movement with no pressure, right? No pressure to get up and make sure that I've made it to some type of a class. No pressure to get up and make sure that, I've done 10K steps. Although that is one of my disciplines, so more than likely I'm going to walk my 5 miles or at the very least 3 miles for the day. But I'm talking about just a morning movement to just really kind of move stagnant energy through and help open me up to breathe. So even if that just looks like 3 minutes of stretching, or if that looks like waking up and doing hip circles, or maybe that looks like waking up and just doing some like arm raises or like some head circles, some head rolls, like anything to just start moving the energy first thing in the morning. Movement is one of those things that I am a firm believer that it will shift your mood. And y'all, it will shift your mood almost 100% of the time. In fact, I'm not even gonna say almost. I believe that movement will shift your mood 100% of the time because you're moving emotional energy. The second thing is to say thank you. To say thank you every day out loud, even for things that I have not received yet. So essentially, this looks like being in a place of gratitude all day if you can. Being in a place of gratitude, even when the day feels like it's not going the way you want it to. Being in a place of gratitude, even when it seems like things are not really something that you want to be grateful for, but trying to pull and find like that space of gratitude anyway, or saying thank you anyway. This looks like waking up and saying thank you for my space. Thank you for my room. Thank you for this roof. Thank you for my financial flow. Thank you for my children. Thank you for my freedom. Thank you for my vehicle, right? Thank you for my new sources of income. Thank you for, right? And so it can sound really delusional, right? But I think that with manifesting, like sometimes we got to get real delulu to get into it. And I don't think that there's really anything wrong with that. And then lastly, this is going to look like number 3 for me is waking up and consuming joy-filled content first. So I am the type of person that gets up in the morning, and when I turn off my alarm, I might lay there for a few more minutes, but I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna check on what's going on in the world. I know that there's so many things that say don't do that first. Don't jump on social media first. Don't check your emails first. Don't do anything with your phone first. And if that works for you, then let the good times roll. But for me, I will get up and I will definitely like pop into my socials and see if I got any messages or anything overnight. I do a little scrolling in the morning before I get out of the bed. However, doing joy-filled content first. So maybe this looks more like getting up and not hopping on something like Facebook immediately, where people and their opinions of everything are there. But maybe getting up and looking at my Pinterest boards. And that's one thing that I've really enjoyed doing, is getting up in the morning and going to my board for 2025. I have a board that's called 2025 Vibe. And it's got all of these like power things that I want to call into my life. And I wake up and I scroll through that first. That gets me excited and gets me feeling good and puts the images of those things that I've specifically pinned because I'm looking to call them in at the forefront of my mind first thing in the morning. Or maybe this just looks like waking up and watching content that makes you feel inspired, or that makes you laugh, or that makes you feel happy, right? So one of the ways that you can also do that, honestly, is by just doing a social media cleanse. Like if you're following a bunch of creators or content that like does not even feel good or resonate, like it's good to go through and just clear that out. I think I shared with you guys, like I've been getting back into watching more vlogs and watching more content creators, and I feel like that's also another positive way to start the day. Like if you have a podcast that you like or affirmations that you like to listen to, one of my favorite things to listen to in the morning is the Abraham Hicks Rampage, and I've probably been listening to that since like 2016. Like that's been in my rotation of like power, get into your feelings, emotions, and start feeling good about things for many, many, many years. So yeah, those are the 3 things that I am going to work on this week as we are looking to call in the things that we desire by taking baby steps to getting our manifestations. If you are a journaler or somebody who likes to write things down, like I do have a little prompt or something that you can kind of like keep at the forefront, or like that you can just like work around in your mind this week. And that is, what small shift can you make that will help you feel just 10% better this week? So maybe this doesn't look like being on 100, right? But what kind of small shifts can we make this week in our daily routines and in our lifestyle that can just make us feel 10% better? And maybe that just looks like drinking more water every day, or incorporating some more vegetables into our diet, or taking a walk for 10 minutes, right? So I want you to think about that, play around with it, swish it around in your mind. If you want to, drop it in the comments. What is the one thing that you are going to do this week to help you feel 10% better? And so my intention for this week is going to be to honor how I feel, but reach for the good feelings. To honor how I feel, but reach for the good feelings. And that is the energy that I'm calling in. More ease, more joy, more happiness, and essentially more abundance, because rule 101, always be mindful of how you feel. That's gospel. Thank you guys for joining me for Manifesting Monday. If this hit you or resonated with you, or if anything stuck, leave a comment below and let me know that you are choosing to feel good on purpose. And maybe let me know how you want to feel this week. How would you like to feel this week? Maybe you want to feel motivated. Maybe you want to feel energized. Maybe you want to feel happy. Maybe you want to feel abundant. Maybe you want to feel love. Maybe you want to feel grateful, right? Like these are all power words. So how do you want to feel? What are you calling in? How are you choosing to feel going into this week? Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. And if you know somebody who is also in their starting over era, or in their manifesting journey, or just looking to change and call new energy into their life, feel free to share this video with them. And I will see you guys next week for another Manifesting Monday.